it is Crystal, and I am back on the Crafty Maven Getaway YouTube channel today with a multi-photo layout for you. So I thought I would just jump in and talk a little bit about my thought on multi-photos on a layout now versus when I first started. So when I first started, I was all about the multi-photos. As many photos as I could get on a layout, the better, which I was always caught up. Let me tell you, I did my son's monthly in 112 by 12. Then my style changed. So I tend to do a few pictures or mainly just one picture to tell the story. But I've noticed that when you go on vacation, you take tons of pictures and you want to get a lot of those on. So how I have kind of remedied that is actually making my pictures smaller, especially if they're like scenery pictures or they're all kind of one place. It doesn't need a big blown up picture. So what I do is I tend to work in 4x6 size, and I have a collage app that's not the greatest, but it's okay. It does what I need it to do. And you can basically put as many pictures on it as you want. And you can do that at Walmart and that type of thing too. So this one, I did 2 pictures. So I end up with 2 3x4s. And then this one is actually a 5x7. So I ended up with 4 3x4s. The other one that I like to do is actually with a 4x6 photo. And if it's like a progression of pictures, and I can't decide on one, I'll put all 3 of them on one layout. And let me grab one. So this is an example. So 3 cute pictures of my daughter on her first horseback ride, and I could have definitely just done this as one photo, but I like the fact that I got 3 photos on this layout and still got to use a ton of paper and a ton of embellishments, because I really like to play with my stuff. I would definitely not call myself a minimalist by any means. So that's kind of how I attack the multi-photo layouts. So I am going to be working with one of these today. It's probably going to end up being a double page spread with this and then this on one side. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut them up, if I'm going to leave them as one big photo like I did with that one. So let's get started and find out. Okay, so I have decided on this paper from Here and There from Crate Paper. And I do love both sides, but I do have a thing for some black and white. So I'm actually going to use the black and white, and I'm kind of thinking to myself that this is a 2-page layout, basically. So I want to incorporate both papers on both sides. So I'm deciding that the black and white is the one I'm going to use today. And then the other side is going to be mainly this print. So I cut both pieces down to 8.5 by 11 because that's the size I'm doing for this trip. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of that foil leaf paper. Can't say the other word for the life of me today. I don't know. To the back, and I'm just going to tear a little bit on the side, and so that will bring in some of that other page. And it's great because I just use the cutoff. So that's kind of how I'm thinking that the 2-page spread is going to go. So at this point, I'm trying to decide, okay, so do I leave those 4 pictures all by themselves, like in that cluster that it came in, and it really takes up the center of the page, which is fine. But I wanted each of the papers to be a little, or each of the pictures to be a little more individualized. So I decided to cut them up, and I am going to run them in a vertical pattern, kind of down the center. And I just wanted to add a little texture because in this cenote, there was tons and tons of vines coming down, so I thought it would be good to add this texture of the crepe paper coming down. And I just did 2 lines of my tape runner. You do have to make sure you get it all the way to the end. That's probably my only tip for you there. But run it all the way to the end, and then you just smush them. You just smush it down, no real pattern or reason. So because I've done that, I realized that I need, on the edges of all the photos, they're kind of hanging off, so I have to add some fun foam. And then, of course, after I stick this down, I decide that I actually want to back my pictures with some pattern paper. So I will have to take it off, but it actually comes off pretty easily. And so here's where I'm looking at that, and I'm like, oh, I have all these beautiful scraps of paper. How is that going to look? Yep, I definitely want to back my photos. So this piece is from the Wild at Heart. Same with this one, and it's from their 6x8 paper pad. And then I just add the fun foam back, like no big deal. So here I am trying to figure out, okay, what other kind of paper scraps do I have? And I grabbed this glossing bag that I had received some fun goodies from Spiegel Mom Scraps in. And I am just going to fold that so it fits completely behind that particular photo, and that's where I'm going to add my journaling. For the last piece, I add one of, it's actually a piece of ephemera. It kind of looks like a Project Life card, and it said Plant Lady on it. I'm not a plant lady. I kill everything. So I knew I wasn't going to be using that. Now, this little piece of washi tape was just sitting on my desk, like tiny, tiny little scraps. So I went ahead and just added that in 3 places. And then I am almost done with this sticker sheet, and I just have a couple of the tiny word stickers yet left. And so I put 2 on. One says stay curious and one says be mindful. And then I found that cowabunga tag that is like super old, super old. I had just gone through my stash to see kind of what pieces I had. I mainly looked in my blue container. So I pulled that up and away, and you are here. And that is actually pointing at a picture of my husband, because there was a rope swing in this cenote that we went swimming in. It's basically a sinkhole and it has fresh water. It was so cool. So we got to swim in that. So I do have those Amy Tan rubber pieces that says OMG, and adding a couple of those Amy Tan super cute puffy hearts. And that's pretty much going to be it. So I hope you enjoyed this process, and I hope that you make a multi-photo layout. I'd love to see it. We'll see you next time. Bye.